Hey, what's going on? This is Martone, owner and trainer of Fuller Fitness. Hopefully you are doing well. And if not, hopefully you will be, especially if you haven't done your workout yet. And hopefully if you haven't done your workout yet and you do it, you feel much better after that. With high hopes, you have people praying with and or for you to help you overcome whatever you're going through. With this video, it's to do doing things a little different when I do my videos now. I don't know how often I'm gonna do it, but I'm trying to do things at least a little bit different with my videos now. So with this one, I'm doing a flat bench dumbbell chest press. And the goal compared to the video I just posted on a different platform where I did incline dumbbell chest press. So now I'm doing this one, but on here. So with this one, similar to the other one, is I'm doing the goal for me is to do 3 sets of 4. That's just my preference in terms of number of reps and number of sets, especially compared to the numbers of reps that I was doing for years. Which was usually 5 or less, and I mean I'm pretty much still doing that, but the goal is and I was doing only 2 sets for about 6 years actually, so, or close enough to it. So to do 3 sets of 4, if I can do it, which hopefully I can. So the goal is 3 sets of 4 flat bench chest press, compared to, I'm going to do another video doing flies, but not on here. Doing things different in terms of making it to where I do my videos and make them to where they're not as long. So see if I average 10 minutes per video, if that. Minutes per video, if that. So that's number 1. See if I can do 2 more sets with 125. And you do what works for you. Depending on how busy your schedule is, hopefully, because I meant to post about this earlier on whether Facebook or Instagram, and I think I've said it in videos before, within the last 3 years, if not longer, there's a strong possibility that you do have time, even for those of us who prefer to lift heavier. Strong possibility that you have a decent amount of time to get your workout in and done if you're not doing much talking, if any. If you're not looking at social media and stuff like that on your phone, or anything else on your phone while trying to work out. And then if you're busy, if you're trying to get a certain number of sets in, depending on what you're doing, the sets don't matter as much, depending on what your goal is. So this is just a challenge that I want in terms of doing 3 sets of 4, because just because you can do the first set doesn't mean that there's a guarantee that you can do the other 2. So, And I've said that in at least one video before, probably more. So just because you can do the first set of whatever the weight is, and I think a lot of people should know that by now. That's why a lot of people do drop sets. So I don't do drop sets. So if I do this second set and it seems like I can't do it, that's gonna be it. Or same with the third one. I try to if I get to the point to where I can do the think I can do the third set. If I can't do 4 reps, that's different. If I can at least do 2 for the second and third set compared to 4, I'm okay with that. Especially for those who have seen my videos over the years, I wasn't doing 4 reps anyway. So yeah, do what works for you. And in terms of feeling as if you don't have time, either you need to take less time in between your sets, depending on how much time you're taking, or just do 1 or 2 less sets, depending on how many sets some people do, especially for those who do 4 or more sets per exercise. 4 or more sets per exercise, so that should make it obvious that many people are doing too much, especially young people. Not to pick on you, but it's usually young people doing a bunch of unnecessary sets. I don't think I ever did, but I don't think I ever did a bunch of sets. That was never really my thing. Even though I think I have done 10 sets of 10 before as a teenager and maybe in my early 20s. All right, so see if today is one of those days where I can actually do 3 sets of 4. I think I said it in one of my other videos last week. If not yesterday, I think last week. In terms of me yawning, even though it's day out, I have a difference in change in schedule. So I don't get to go to bed at the time that I want to anymore. So I don't know how long it's going to take for me to adjust and get to the point to where I do my workouts, especially if I'm recording, but to do my workouts and I'm not yawning while trying to share my fun with you. So, but yeah, I usually, for those who know me, I'm usually in bed at the earliest 8 o'clock, which is different compared to years past, to where I was in bed earlier than that. And then at the latest, I might have been in bed at 9. But with my new schedule, I'm in bed late. Especially for somebody around my age to go to bed at that time. at or around that time that I'm going to bed now due to my current schedule. So I think I only yawned once so far, so I think we're think we're doing good, especially seeing that this is the second exercise in my workout. But I recorded the first exercise, incline dumbbell chest press, but I put that somewhere else. I didn't put that on here this time. So yeah, for those who are interested in stuff like this, people that are lifting kind of heavy, very heavy, and I'm guessing you are if you're watching, so to give the video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, so that I can share more of my fun, with high hopes that you like some of it, and then learn from it, depending on what it is that you're doing, thought about doing, was about to do, and then share it with people who might be interested in it. The interesting thing is, you might think to yourself, certain people might not be interested, and that might be true. But seeing that January 1st is coming up, depending on when some of you see this, January 1st is tomorrow. So, things change in terms of what people were thinking, are thinking, may be thinking later. So where if you share it and all of a sudden they watch it and might think to themselves that it's interesting or impressive, or learn a little something that they didn't know, even though I'm just doing the one exercise in this video. But if you saw my shorts and stuff like that, it's usually just the one thing anyway. So this shouldn't be much different, other than instead of me doing just a one set and recording it in less than 40 seconds, to actually try to take the time to actually explain it this time, for those who see it and hopefully like it, or at least appreciate it. Like I said, if you like the video, subscribe, share the video with people who might like it, and then depending on how some people feel about the video and what I'm doing, and might be interested in online personal training, and you send me a direct message on Instagram at Fuller Fitness BNY. I'll try to remember to post that at the bottom. Other than that, I will share a link for those who want to take the time to get to a certain point in terms of what they can lift, and do it within 90 days. So that way you have a decent amount of time to get to a certain point, compared to trying to do it in a short, like 2 or 4 weeks, or even 6 weeks. So to try to give yourself 90 days to see how much you can improve with the help of certain people who actually know what they're doing, specifically me. Daily workouts and being able to message me all in the app that I use. So getting daily workouts, being able to message me in the app that I use, making changes as needed to your workout so you can get to where you're trying to get to. So if you're interested in that, I'll have a link at the bottom for you to purchase that. And if you want to ask me any questions before that, like I said, if you direct message me on Instagram, Fuller Fitness BNY, and I'll have that information at the bottom. All right, so interesting thing, like I said, for anybody, just because you did 1 or 2 sets, depending on how many sets you're doing or trying to do, want to do, just because you did 1 or 2 sets, because I don't really believe in drop sets. So, I'm guessing the reason certain people do believe in drop sets is so that if they hit a certain number, and then they drop, to make sure they can do it, or whatever the reason. So many people believe in drop sets, but I don't. So if I was able to do it on a 1 set but not the second, that would just be it. And then I'll move on to flies with whatever weight that I choose to use for flies. So all right, so I don't remember if I said it in this video compared to the previous one, but the interesting thing for me is that one of the reasons it took me so long to be able to lift a certain amount. I don't think it's because I couldn't do it, but um, the gym that I was going to for most of my life, and I think I've shared that in some of the videos before over the last 3 years. The gym that I was going to for most of half of my life, uh, and that's true for a lot of gyms, I believe. Their dumbbells don't go over 100 pounds, especially for those who go to Planet Fitness. But the dumbbells don't go over 100 pounds at a lot of gyms. And then the ones that did or do, I didn't know about it within a certain period of time, or I lived so far away from some of those areas um, to where I didn't go to the gym. Like there's one for those that live in Rochester. There's a gym in Spencerport. I believe their dumbbells go up to 150, but living where I lived at the time, it would take so long for me to get to Spencerport from where I was. And then whatever other gyms in Rochester, New York, to where they might have had two, maybe a few more gyms, depending on where, and whether it was East Rochester. I was in the west of Rochester, so there was just that one gym. I can't remember the name of it, but that gym, and then whatever other gyms on the east or north, south, depending on where, I didn't know. So for me, someone told me about the Olympic dumbbells, and again, I believe I mentioned it in a video before, but with the Olympic dumbbells, I believe I can put almost whatever amount of weight on there that I want, or can. So, see how long it'll take me for me to get to a certain number, especially seeing that depending on when certain people see this video, I'm currently 39 for at least another 7 months, or 6 months. Yeah, 7 months. The point in that is, depending on what's available to you, whatever gym that you go to, including your home gym, the gym that you work out in / go to or live in. Just keep practicing, and then figure out what kind of stuff is available for you in order for you to increase your strength at this point in your life. So, with adjustable dumbbells, depending on which ones you get, I think I've had these for damn near 10 years. I think going on 10 years, or at least 9. It's been at least 9 years since I've had these, possibly likely longer, to where I can put heavy weights on. But as you can see, with this thing being so damn big and putting a certain number of weight on, actually, it might be interesting if I can put a certain number of 10s on here to where I can fill it up and see how much weight that is, to where it might be a little less. Yeah, I think I need to try that. But anyway, like I said, do what works for you. So hopefully, in terms of depending on what you're doing, so my preference is dumbbells. So if you're doing barbell stuff, then you should have different things going on for you in terms of how and why. But like I said, for those who need or want help with that, I'm an online personal trainer with a business of my own. I'm the only owner. I'm the only trainer. So if you're comfortable with having a guy as a trainer, depending on who sees this, and it's going to be mostly guys who see this, but I know women are usually the ones who hire trainers. So depending on who sees this and has at least a little bit of interest, again, my preference is dumbbells, but in the app that I do have, and again, these are Olympic dumbbells. They have different names, but I was told they're Olympic dumbbells when I got them. That's what I call them. So yeah, whether it's you that's interested in increasing your strength, and if you are interested and have the uh, if you can afford online personal training or any form of personal training, again, I'll put my information at the bottom of the video. Again, you can send me a direct message um, on Instagram, Fuller Fitness BNY, and let's get you going. Even if you're a beginner, because I've actually had people comment on my videos about being a beginner. There is nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's a great thing, probably, in terms of depending on how long you've been going and what you've learned up to this point. So if you're a beginner, that's great, especially if you have see and find out about certain trainers that have a certain level of experience and know what the hell they're doing. To where now, if you're a beginner, then if you have me as your trainer, to where you can, instead of having bad habits, now with all the experience that I have, over 2 decades of experience that I have, to help you as a beginner. And even if you're not a beginner and you are struggling to progress, even though you're not a beginner, just sometimes it's just a matter of changing something, changing your speed, how fast you're moving, how much time you take in between sets, changing your hand position. Like if my one Brody sees this, he went to deadlift, and I've said it before. He went to deadlift 405, maybe it might have been more than that, but I think I had 405 pounds on, possibly more. And he wanted to try it for whatever the reason, the temptation, motivation, whatever it was. And thankfully, I watched him do it. And when he went to deadlift it, and it'd be interesting if he actually watches this and he remembers it. So he went to deadlift it, but because of the hand position he chose while trying to deadlift, he picked it up, but he couldn't stand up. Like, he barely picked it up off the floor. And I just asked him, like, why did you lift it the way that you did? And I think he said, I don't know, or something like that. And I was like, well, if you lift it, and I told him, like, instead of your hands being inside and you making it harder, with you trying to deadlift like that, you're making it to where now, instead of you using your strength, you have to focus more on balance. And if that's what you want to do, go for it. But if you're just trying to focus on strength and lift it, instead of your hands being in here and you having 400, or whatever the weight is, but having over 400 pounds on the bar, if you come out here and then lift it, you'll be able to do it. Sure enough, he took a breath, went down, picked it up. It wasn't necessarily easy, but it wasn't as hard as it would have been if he would have kept his hands in here compared to coming out, and he was actually able to do it. Same with his wife, actually. There was a certain amount of weight that Brody had on the bar. It wasn't a lot. Actually, it was very little that day. And I think it was less than 200 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been about 200 pounds. And I asked his wife, like, hey, you want to try it? And, she was scared to do it. And I said, just see if you can do it one time. And me and her husband were both there. So I was like, we can take it from you or whatever we have to do if it's too heavy. But just see if you could do one, anywhere between 1 and 3. And she went and tried it. I don't remember if any of us recorded it or not, but she went and tried it and she lifted it. And again, depending on how many videos of mine you've seen, it was, I usually do shorts, because usually the longer videos people usually don't watch. So with the shorts, obviously I don't say it, but if you read the captions in the shorts, I always mention how you should fall in love with the opportunity to surprise yourself. In fact, it wasn't a surprise for me, but I think 2 weeks ago, depending on when certain people see this one, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was going to flat bench chest press 147, and I did the lift, but then I recounted for some reason I just felt the need I should recount and found out I did 157, which was not my goal. But the fact that I did it, I forgot how many reps I did. So one I've done it before, so it's not like it was a surprise. But I wasn't sort of trying to do that, and my mindset would have been different towards doing that had I have known, had I been sure before I did it, which I thought I was. But had I been sure before I did it, that would have changed things for me mentally in terms of being more nervous about the lift and whether I can do it, and being, I always work out by myself. So all these things I would have been thinking probably in terms of trying to do that, do a certain number of reps, and being able to put the dumbbells back down. Because I think if you look through my shorts, which is to a certain degree embarrassing, but I remember I did 150. 150 something. It was either 150, maybe it might have been 153, and I pressed it once or twice, but I couldn't get back up like I usually do. I couldn't get back up, and like you can like see me struggling, kicking my legs out, to where I just had to drop my dumbbells on the floor, which I prefer to not do, but I couldn't get up, and I didn't have anybody to spot me, so I just dropped them. So again, my point is, fall in love with the opportunity to surprise yourself. It's going to be hard to surprise yourself on purpose, depending on what you're doing, but fall in love with the opportunity to surprise yourself, especially if you have a spotter, and hopefully a spotter that knows what the heck they're doing. Because I've seen, there's this one jackass, young guy, who a lot of you might know. I'm going to try not to say his name. But this jackass who's in love with PEDs, and lucky he can do some of the stuff that he does currently. But he's trying so hard as a young man, not even in his 30s yet, I think. And I think he hurt himself trying to deadlift more than his body is prepared for, especially being as young as he is. Not only that, whenever that jackass is spotting people, I think multiple people have torn their pec. And that probably wouldn't have happened if he was a spotter. It seems like every time I see a video when that jackass is spotting somebody, that person ends up tearing their fucking pec. And that bothers the hell out of me. If anybody does that. The fact that somebody is spotting someone and these people are tearing out their pec, especially if it's the same fucking person, spotting these people and getting hurt. How many people have to get hurt with you spotting them before you realize you need to stop spotting people? Or certain people letting him spot them. For those of us that have seen videos where this jackass, every time somebody tears their pec, it's him spotting them. So, and this person has been very well known for at least 3 years on YouTube and Instagram and wherever the heck else. So, the fact that, so again, hopefully with what you're doing, I've been working out by myself for years. I only got hurt one time. And I think it's because that was the one time I actually had a certain amount of weight on a dumbbell. It was more than I thought it was. I think there's some other reasons I might have got hurt, but one of the reasons is I think I had more weight on the dumbbells than I thought I had, and then working out by myself, and many reasons to why I think I hurt myself. So thankfully, I actually tore my pec, but it was on me, and I barely even lifted the freaking dumbbell. So again, I had certain things going on to where I, was in a rush, somewhat of a rush to try to see what I can do. And I hurt myself that one time. There's another time I got hurt, but that was just me. I think it was the first time I did 160, going on 3 years ago. So when I did that, I went to do a second set of it, because the first set I didn't record it. So when I tried to do a second set to record it, I heard and felt some stuff in my elbow, man. And as far as I know, that was the first time I heard and felt stuff like that. I can't even explain the sound, but man, to hear and hear what I heard, it sounded like a freaking machine, a malfunctioned machine. That sound I heard in my elbow, And then the feeling I had to where thankfully I was able to drop the dumbbell without tearing a pec or anything like that with the stuff I heard and felt at that point. So do what works for you in terms of working out by yourself, having a certain amount of time in between sets. Sorry for talking so much, but again, for me being somebody who cares and trying to make sure people don't get hurt, whether you're working out by yourself or not, try to make sure I don't miss anything, especially if you try to do some of this stuff and by yourself. But try to figure out what works best for you in terms of taking a certain amount of time in between sets. How many sets that you do, because I know some people do too many, especially young people. How fast you're going. The heavier it is, the slower you should likely go. Not to say you should like move as slow as possible on purpose, but it's hard to move really fast depending on how heavy it is, and that should be obvious to many people regardless of their age. But specifically for people over the age of 25, probably, especially if you haven't gotten hurt yet, or just felt certain things that you probably shouldn't feel. So again, just do what works for you. Don't base what you're doing. Don't base it off of popularity. Like, look into it. Depending on what you see, what you hear, what is being suggested, but everybody always has to make their own decision, whether it's popular or not. I don't think at 39 years old, I don't think there's been many, if any. Yeah, I don't think that, especially as an adult, there hasn't been any decisions as an adult that I've made that was based off of popularity. If I like certain things, if I believe in whenever I like something, I believe in something, I love something, and I want to do it or get it or whatever it is, I'm going to try to do it, get it, whatever it is, regardless of what other people are saying about it. Oh, I don't think that's a good idea. And that's not, when I started using bands and the older people would tell me that was a waste of time, I should just lift weights and all this other stuff people would tell me. And thankfully, I just kept doing what I was doing. Then all of a sudden, a certain period of time goes by, and all of a sudden, hey, can I try that? And I was like, how the hell did you go from telling me this is a waste of time to where now all of a sudden you want to try it? Then they tried using the bands that I had back then, the thick black bands, and they would try to do a chest press and try to do rolls and certain things that I knew how to do at the time, which was little. And they couldn't do it. And they're like, I don't understand why I can't this, and then I'm like, oh, so you go from telling me that it's a waste of time to now you're trying to figure out why you can't do it. So again, the good thing about certain people like me is if we believe in certain things, believe in certain things, interested in certain things, whatever. So if you believe in certain things and want to do certain things, depending on what it is, and depending on what it is, and it doesn't hurt you or somebody else, hopefully doesn't hurt you or somebody else, do it. As far as there's lifting weights and stuff like that, like if there's certain equipment and stuff like that, and I've seen a lot of different stuff throughout my time. So, but I'm gonna try to leave it at that, especially for those who might have watched this video up to this point, but I'm gonna try to leave it at that because I had a idea of how long this video is gonna be. I'm pretty sure it's been longer than that. Yep, been at least 15 minutes longer than I thought it was gonna be. So I apologize about that. But again, for me to try to make sure, one, people are progressing. Two, to try to make it to where people are not getting hurt. So like I said, just because you can do one set of a certain number doesn't mean you'll be able to do a second and third set, but that depends on how heavy it is, how fast you're going, how much time you take in between sets, how much experience you have, and whether or not you have a spotter that hopefully knows what the heck they're doing. So again, if you're interested, in online personal training, have questions, comments, or concerns. But if you're not interested in having me as your online personal trainer, it's probably a waste of time. I could be wrong in terms of you asking certain questions, but at least to me. So, depending on what you are interested in, at least a little bit, Fuller Fitness BNY on Instagram. But at the same time, if you're interested and want to get started without asking questions, which is up to you, I'll put the link at the bottom. You pay for it, I see it, then I eventually get in contact with you to make sure, and then we get you started with the app that I use, to where I have to send you an invite and you set up your profile, and then we get started with your workouts, especially at this point in the year. So depending on when certain people see this, because it's the day before, Happy New Year to you. Hopefully things get better for you, depending on what that is, to you, for you. And then hopefully I can help you in some way, whether it's YouTube and the videos that I post here, especially videos like this. With high hopes, I'm not talking as much, but videos to where I share certain information and help you that way, whether people can't afford it or there's so many people who choose not to pay for it. So, see how many of these that I do, and you benefit from it. So, again, hopefully you like it, subscribe, and then share with other people who might be interested or people that you believe need to hear it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This is Martone, owner and trainer of Fuller Fitness. Happy New Year. Take care.